Guys, this is Jackie Cooper, and I'm here today with a friend of mine who actually is in Botswana, and he is the owner and operator of the lead budget tour that we have up on our screen. And they do a variety of individual, family, and group safaris. So welcome, and thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Ms. Cooper.
Would you like to share with our listeners, how did you get involved with safaris? How did you get involved with doing this company?
Right. I grew up amongst animals. My home village is in Maung, and Maung is about 10 kilometers from the Moremi Game Reserve, commonly known as the Delta. So our cattle post was very much close to Moremi Game Reserve. So for me, safari was like something that I grew up seeing people doing. In fact, at one point, I even had to go to the airport just to admire the guides, because back then there were very few safaris. And it was actually a privilege to come to talk to one of them. So they were like, nicely dressed with nice shorts and driving very nice open vehicles, what we call the safari view. So that was very, very attractive to me. However, growing up, of course, I didn't choose that one because of several reasons. So I went into teaching instead. It was only at a later stage that I stopped teaching to follow my passion.
And I'm also a teacher, so I very much respect what you're doing. So I'm showing the website because I think it's really beautiful, and I'm seeing different animals on there, from giraffes to elephants to impalas. So, and I also see one of the vehicles and the beautiful, is that a sunset? I believe it is a sunset.
Sunset.
Yeah. So how do you normally find your clients? How do they come to you?
Right. I get most of my clients actually from referrals. Referrals because I attend international trade fairs. And for the past years, I've been yearly attending ITB. So from there, I get a lot of contact. And yes, and I also get referrals from families based abroad, friends based abroad. So it's a combination of website, international fairs, and families and friends.
So how has how's it been going in the last few months? I know for us, travel has obviously stopped. What's it been like in your country?
Oh, it's pretty bad. It's really, really bad. Because I mean, we don't receive any international travels just now. Our borders are closed, and they have been closed since I think end of February, March, somewhere there. I can't remember anymore. So yeah, for quite some time now. So basically, that meant that we were only depending now on local tourists. And then came the lockdown, and with the local lockdown, there was no movement, so business also went basically down. So we are actually on our knees as we speak. There is no business.
So have you where do you think that the business is going? Do you hear that the country might be opening up anytime soon, or what have you heard?
We only hear that borders are closed. That is what we hear. So as to when they will be open, we don't know. So there's quite a lot of uncertainty and lack of information as to when the borders will be open so we can receive international tourists. So this is, yes, just that, we don't know.
So I have a question for you, and I'm going through your website and it's beautiful. And I did do some safaris with my daughter when we were in Tanzania. Have you
Yeah.
thought about the idea of doing a virtual safari?
I've heard about virtual safaris, but I'm not really sure if it is possible here. We don't have like internet coverage in our national parks, so in that way, uh, it doesn't work. It can only work on recorded.
Right, exactly. And I'm thinking that I'm seeing all those beautiful pictures of the wildlife that I also remember experiencing.
Yes.
I'm thinking that if you were able to do recordings
Yeah.
of some of the experiences that you have been showing face to face, and nothing beats the face to face. And I would recommend to anyone that's listening to this to definitely, as soon as borders open up, to definitely book a safari, because it's a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you can't do that, then temporarily, I'm thinking that this might be a way for families to do a virtual, education teachers to do a virtual. So there might be some other ways that creatively we can, and I know this is on a recording, so everyone is hearing this. This might be the first
Yeah.
time that we're actually figuring this out.
Yeah.
But actually, it might be a way to kind of help
Think about it.
generate a whole nother area of support, because
Mhm.
as you know, your business is suffering, but there's a lot of other individuals and the animals, everything, it's also interconnected.
Yep.
So what other messages would you like to share with the listeners about your business? Because I think it's phenomenal what you've done here. And I'll also have contact information on the podcast and on the
Mhm.
YouTube, so that way people can reach out to you to definitely book.
Yeah. On a brighter note, I think it has been a briefer space for the animals.
Yes,
So yes, we have for once given animals, break.
that's
All
true.
right. So that's the positive part, so they can be able to recover and so on. But business-wise, yes, we have been hard hit, and we cannot wait to, go trouble them again. Um, so basically, what we do is, say, for example, you refer someone to us, and then we are able to quote, basically giving an idea of, of how the tour will look like. Okay, but just to brief you how it is like, it's an itinerary more or less telling you, okay, from Gaborone, for example, we head to Kutse National Game Reserve, and from there we are going to camp. So we move with our vehicles, okay, pitch up tents for our clients. We cook for them, and we drive them around the national parks, basically.
Yes, yes, and it's
Yeah.
definitely an experience that memories that you have for a lifetime.
Ex-
Um,
Exactly, because sometimes when we say we drive around looking for animals, it doesn't really, have an impact on our clients until they experience it. Because when you say up and close, we mean like a few meters,
yes, yes,
because sometimes we really go very close to the animals, but of course with the comfort of our clients, because safety is very important for us, and just also the comfort of our clients is also very important for us, because some are like go-getter, they want to be as close as possible, without obviously encroaching on the space of the animal. But what I'm trying to say is we really go very, very close sometimes, I mean a very few meters. So yeah, that's the experience that you will get. And then the other thing is, which is more or less on the offside, but it is a fact. We go into a national game reserve, and it's not a zoo. So you drive around. Sometimes you see a lot. Sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
So it's not like we will drive here and see this, and that. No, it is not. It is not like that. So the more time you spend on a destination, the better.
That's true. And I also know that depending upon the time of day, different animals are out. And then in the heat of the day, they might be sleeping.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So what we do is early in the early mornings, that's when the animals, are active. So that's when we will wake you up, give you some hot drinks, snacks to hit the road and go searching. So that search will go until around 10:30 in the morning, and then we cut it down, go back to camp for your breakfast, and then thereafter you rest until afternoon, when you go for another game drive until sunset. So you come back, you take your shower, and then dinner, and then it's bedtime. And bedtime is always with lots of activity, of course. Well, you cannot see it because you are in your tent, but you can hear the lion roaring. You can hear the hyenas. You can hear the birds singing. So it's quite a lot of action at night. Or you just have to visualize it.
yeah, no, you're right. When we were there, again, not in your country, but in Tanzania, we were in our tent, and we heard this munching right next to our tent.
Oh, yes.
And we learned the next day that there were elephants that were munching the trees that were right there. And,
Yes.
it's like you were told, stay in your tent. Do not go outside.
Yes, and that is very, very important because you cannot go outside at night, because these elephants would come very close to your tent, sometimes even nibbling on the branches, above your tent. The lions will also come to scavenge around the tent. The hyenas will come, So it is very important that you actually adhere to the rules,
Yes.
to the safety rules of camping.
Yeah.
So your guide will actually brief you on the safety network of camping.
So, when someone travels to where you are, what is the best time of the year to come based upon when the weather is and that type of thing? When would you recommend that they travel?
The best time is your summer and our winter. The Europe summer and our winter.
Okay.
That's the best. It is the best time because then the trees are not so thick, like green. So in winter, of course, the trees and all the vegetation have shed down the leaves, and therefore you are able to see much further from than you would otherwise see when it is green and very thick. So the best time is winter, which is our May, June, July, and then going into summer, August, September, and October, November, December. October, November is very hot and can be very, very hot. And December can be very hot and very rainy. And because of the kind of terrains that we use, usually you might get stuck. All the camping equipment might be blown away with the thunderstorm, because thunder here is very, very sometimes vicious. So we try not to do a lot of tours in December, January, February, March, and then we start slowly in April.
So, tell me a little bit more about your home, your country. How is the population? Is it large? Is it small? What would you say is the population? And are there
population of Botswana is very small. We are just slightly above 2 million people.
Oh wow, that is small.
Yeah, very, 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 very small. Very small, peaceful, diverse. Like people from the north and the south, they speak Setswana, but in different dialects. They can understand each other and communicate very comfortably, but the way we pronounce words is very different. Our food is also the same, but different here and there. So Setswana is our unifying kind of language, although there are some smaller groups, like the Khoisan, of course. You will have the Baherero, you will have the Bambukushu, you will have the Batawana, Bamwakesi, and so there are so many small groups. But since independent, we adopted a situation whereby, okay, you will keep your culture, your ethnic group culture, but let's follow this model of model of having to use Setswana as the common language, and it was agreed in that way. And the nice thing is, you still have your own culture, your own language, and you can practice.
So what currency do you use?
We use Pula. Our currency is called Pula.
Pula.
And yes, and the Pula in Setswana means rain. Yeah, so our currency is named after rain, because Botswana is a semi-arid country. So for us, rain is very, very important.
Yes.
So we say Pula for all major events. Or if you want to wish well of a gathering, you say Pula, like you are addressing a lot of people, and then you say Pula. And then they will say Aine, meaning let it rain. So our currency means Pula, and that is the connection why it is called Pula, because Botswana is a semi-arid country, and therefore rain is very, very important.
And what I'm asking you these questions because as a teacher, I also want to explain to my students more about your country. So what kind of government do you have? Is it?
We have a multi-party democracy. Multi-party democracy. Different, political parties are voted into power. We hold election every 5 years, and the winning party, that means the party with the majority in parliament, will form the government. So since 1966, we had only one party, unfortunately, which has won all the elections. And yes, Botswana Democratic Party, yes.
And where is your capital?
Yes, Botswana's capital is Gaborone City.
And are you close to where the capital is, or how far away are you?
Actually, as we I'm talking to you now, I'm in Gaborone. I'm in the city.
Okay. And yes. The airport that people might fly into, yes. How close is that to where they're going to be going on the safari?
Right. We have like 3 entry points for safari. We have Gaborone. Gaborone is 200 kilometers away from Kutse Game Reserve. And Kutse Game Reserve is bordering Central Khalahari Game Reserve. Okay? So you can drop in Gaborone, drive through Kutse Game Reserve, Central Khalahari Game Reserve, go into Makadikadi National Park, then from Makadikadi, going to Moremi Game Reserve. Moremi Game Reserve is, like I said in the beginning, is very close to Maung. So Maung, there is also an international airport. So you can fly in Gaborone, Maung, and Kasane. In Kasane is Chobe National Park. And Chobe National Park is about an hour drive to Victoria Falls.
So close to Victoria Falls. I'm familiar with that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we've talked about a little bit about the culture, about the currency, about your government. What about the food?
Yes,
What is it known for?
yeah. Botswana is known for its beef.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Botswana is known for its beef, although not a very large head of cattle, but we pride ourselves in producing the best meat, right? So we have pounded meat, which we call siswa, and then we have what you call serobe, all from from the animal. The serobe will be the intestines and the tripe and so forth and so on. Okay, and siswa is people from outside they say overcooked meat, so we don't say it's overcooked. So you cook the meat and then you pound it, so it's nice and soft. And then we have mabele like from sorghum grain, and then we have papa, and then we have rice. Yes, so basically that is that. So you will have mutoho, for example, in the morning instead of bread. So mutoho is a soft sorghum grain meal. And then for lunch, you will have that one hardened, and then you will have that with meat, your sorghum meal papa with meat or vegetables or sour milk. Traditionally, it's meat and sour milk.
That sounds
Yes.
wonderful. That I
Yeah.
really appreciate your sharing all the information. I have been looking forward to talking to you since we
Yeah.
decided that we were going to set up this talk. Is there
Mhm.
any last minute information you want to share to the listeners? I will have, for those that are listening, I will have the contact information above the podcast and above the YouTube. So you
Yeah.
can also reach out to me, but that way you can also, schedule a tour, schedule a safari, ask some more questions. Any other last minute thoughts that you might have?
Yes, because sometimes it is believed that safaris in Botswana is expensive. Well, it's expensive if you are traveling on your own. Okay, but if you make a group say of 5 up to 9, then it becomes very very affordable.
All right.
So we encourage group safaris, and depending on whether you want to experience just camping or camping and lodge and hotels, so you can do actually a combination of both, reducing cost here and there. So it can be very very reasonable. So for example, a 10 days safari for under $2,000, $1,500, depending on the group, of course.
That's really good to know. That's really great
Yeah,
to know. Again,
yeah.
everyone, I would recommend that you kind of reach out, get some more information. A safari is definitely something that should be on everyone's bucket list. I think that,
Mhm.
to see the animals outside of a zoo is incredible. And it also makes us more aware that we really need to protect them and support them, as well as, the countries that are involved with that conservation as well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
thank you so much. And I look forward to talking with you again.
Thank you so much and for having me.
Okay.
Thank you.